His friends called him and knew him Charley Roach. With the spelling, his preferred spelling, I always used to do I-E, but it's actually, his preferred spelling was E-Y.
Yes.
Just so you know that. That is not a mistake. Charley was someone that I knew from a variety of social justice circles many years before I was elected. And you know what? He was actually my next door neighbor. I lived just around the corner here, and one of the things that we did when we were neighbors, we took down the fence between our houses, because he had large gatherings that kind of spilled over into my backyard, and I had large gatherings sometimes that spilled over into his backyard, and that was just the way we wanted it. But I remember him from the early 1980s, and I know there are colleagues here, like Peter Rosenthal here, and others who were our lawyers when we were getting arrested out at Lytton Systems out in Rexdale, and they were part of the arms race. And you know, so we were getting arrested and we were looking for a lawyer to defend us. It was all kind of a Gandhian civil disobedience, and we couldn't find anyone. And then Charley comes along and says, I'll defend you. This is a good issue to go to court on. And the first time I met him, I somehow expected a big man with a bellowing voice, and he was just the gentlest, humblest, soft-spoken person. Yes, he can get mad. He could get mad, but as a person, his orientation was really one of gentleness and frankly, and kindness. Then I again got to meet him when he was very active, and I happened to be active on the anti-apartheid movement and on Global South issues. And then there was the Caribbean Carnival that we also got to know each other. So I am so delighted that we are celebrating him today. For many of you, this may be your first Ward 21 celebration of a laneway naming, so I'd like to tell you how this whole thing came to be. Our emergency service people said, you know what, if someone has a heart attack or an incident back here, how do you know where the EMS people, they can't run to the front of the store, so they said, well, you know what, it would be helpful if these things had their own names. So we took that opportunity as an office and said, well, how many lanes do we have in Ward 21? And we had about 100 laneways. And we said to ourselves in our office, well, how about we name them, instead of, you know, Trudeau gets an airport, Gardner gets an expressway, Lester Pearson gets an airport, but how about the people that create community and build a better world in our neighborhoods, in our hoods? How do we celebrate them, given that all the streets are named, all the parks are named? And that's where we came upon asking people, well, let's nominate people who have contributed to our communities in a good way and that we want to celebrate. So over the last several years, we've named 17 of those 100 names, and the way it works is that someone comes forward and does the nomination. In this case, it was Peter Rosenthal. Thank you, Peter. Let's give him a round of applause. I know Peter and Charley, you were good friends for many, many years. Peter put together a petition, got 20 letters of support, and really is here to just be part of this great sign of friendship that he and Charley had. Then we send it to an adjudication committee. So it's not Joe Mihevik making these decisions. It's actually a community initiative with local residents. Is anyone here from the adjudication committee that we should say thank you to? Okay, no one is here today, but there's a team of about 10 people from all over the ward. They look at all these applications and they decide who is worthy of it. So in Charley's case, he was recognized both as a city and local, citywide and local hero, and as you're likely to hear from speakers. But you know, let me talk about the man that I knew. Charley Roach was born in Trinidad in 1933 and immigrated to Canada in 1955. Similar to me, he had a dream of studies in theology. He was going to be a priest. I know that religious space from which he came, as it is, frankly, my space as well. But while he was at the University of Saskatchewan, he was inspired by Rosa Parks and the broader civil rights movement in the United States, and decided to move to Toronto to attend law school with the hopes of championing civil rights and social justice. In 1968, Charley opened his full-service law practice focusing on civil rights and social justice issues, just around the corner where the World Class Bakery used to be as well, but he had been there for many, many years. Through his work, Charley pursued human rights and equity issues on two simultaneous fronts, in the courts and through political and community organizing. Over the years, a large number of community activists met in Charley's office, helping to plan campaigns for equity and social justice issues. Some of his notable work include his work around gun violence and police brutality, founding the Black Action Defense Committee with Dudley Laws, who one of these days is going to have a laneway named after him, but someone's got to nominate him. I think I know who it's going to be. Where is she? Yes. Charley's work with the Black Action Defense Committee led to the establishment of the Special Investigations Unit, which is the civilian agency that now investigates injuries and death that arise from police encounters. Charley was also a champion of the fight against apartheid in South Africa, as I mentioned before, and supported the movement of minority electors, encouraging more minorities to enter into politics. In addition to political organizing, Charley was also a key founding member of Caribana, now known as the Caribbean Carnival, acting as the board of directors' first secretary in 1967. He continued to support the festival's administration on and off as chair for many years. Charley was also a very talented poet, musician, and painter. As a community and as a city, there was so much Charley gave us as a constant warrior fighting for a better Toronto, a better world. And I think your presence here is a testament to that. I will never forget a couple of months before his passing, a reporter asked him, "How do you maintain your activism in the face of failing health?" Charley replied, "The struggle is the important thing, not how it ends. It's not whether I win or lose, but did I fight and do all that I can?" That quote stands out to me as representing Charley. Looking back on his many accomplishments, we can say that he did all that he could, and that what he did was an enormous amount, leaving us with an incredible legacy. Charley never became a citizen of Canada, and I can remember many conversations on Humewood Drive, him explaining to me why monarchy is just not the way to go any longer, and the evils of monarchy and what it has done over the centuries. And I am totally with him, much to the chagrin of some of the people that I live with, but whatever. So he has left, so he never became a Canadian citizen, but he left a lasting impact on our city and on Canada more broadly. The fact that his law... Theater voice.